Well, it didn't take long after the Syrian attack to get Stefan Molyneux and Paul Joseph Watson on their soapboxes. I'm here to kick some of the air out of their grandstanding. Paul and Stefan want to play the association game about who agreed with Trump's actions, i.e. the CFR, neocons, and Hillary Clinton. Okay, let's see who agrees with you two. How about Credo, MoveOn.org, Peace Action, and Win Without War, all of which are solely owned subsidiaries of George Soros? What about the ACLU or Hezbollah? Then there's the UK Labour Party leader, Jeremy Corbyn. Also, Representative Barbara Lee, Democrat from California. And Black Lives Matter. Shall I lump you in with them? The reason 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon was a popular game is because we like association in games. There are days racists, Bernie people, and fascists agree with single issues we opine about. But I'm certain both of you would agree with me that none of that illegitimizes our own opinions on those matters. Straw man, dead. I will give kudos to Paul Joseph Watson for having Bill Mitchell on as a dissenting voice. Taking none of what he said into account, however, it's easy to streamline and blunt force your arguments when presented in a vacuum like your YouTube video. Let's try to get to at least 180 degrees out of 360 when viewing this, please. Predating the Trump administration and up to today, we have boots on the ground in Raqqa. One of Trump's promises was defeating ISIS domestically and around the world. Not just for the safety of the Western world directly, but to stop the need for refugees to flee in the first place. How do you cut off a flood? You tighten up the source. President Trump's actions in Yemen and this bombing incident are exactly consistent to what he promised his voters. You mention only his CFR connection of cabinet people. There are as many who are not, so he does not live in an echo chamber of globalists. The airbase that was hit, Al-Sharat, is at the center of something fishy. I don't buy the public story either, just like the two of you. Before it all hit the fan, I was already on Twitter and Facebook questioning the veracity of the chemical weapons story released to the press. I believe that the dead we see were exposed to some agent, but the workers in my paste-up and their victims look staged considering they are wearing gas masks and no gloves. Sarin is absorbed by clothing, skin, and hair. I get it. Something is wrong with this picture, but I suspect, since it is a quagmire of factions, there is more to this journey than is apparent to the eye. As to the Christian town Paul Joseph Watson referred to, it's aptly named Sedad. For you Zionist hunters out there, it connects to the land God gave the Israelites, Canaan, as chronicled in Ezekiel 47:15 and Numbers 34:8. It's true, it's a Christian town, which in its heyday sported a population of 15,000. Now it has a total of less than 2,000. Those remaining are hardcore Coptics who will defend the city and Mar Church Basom, one of the oldest Christian cathedral ruins of the ancient world, until death. Nearly every building, including the town center, is either gutted or damaged by bombs. When ISIS attacked initially, seeking to overrun the city, it was a hastily created citizen militia that beat them back time after time. They also engaged the Syrian rebels and Hezbollah. As you can see from the amount of bombed-out space, the airport has done nothing to keep them safe. ISIS does not have an air force, so some of this had to be done by Assad and parts of it from ISIS mortar attacks. Sadat will go on, as it always has, fighting to stay alive because Assad is not helping them. The reason why they're facing attacks from ISIS on a daily basis, Paul, is they have siege troops surrounding parts of the city. The siege troops are on the outskirts and can easily be taken out with sustained helicopter assaults. We now know that base had 20 operational helicopters. One of the biggest supporters of the Syrian rebels is Hezbollah, which gives Lebanon a lot of leverage in this conflict. Remember, modern-day Lebanon was a Christian country which was overrun by Muslim refugees who eventually took over through extreme violence and fierce intimidation. Please check the videos and other works of Brigitte Gabriel for deep background on the Islamization of Lebanon. I included a few links for viewers in the comments section. Hezbollah is known for placing civilians in harm's way and are associated with the white helmet hoaxers. Whatever this chemical agent was, chances are components in its creation come from that airbase. If it were doing its job, Hezbollah fighters would not have the ease of movement in and out of those areas to attack and regroup, in many cases stronger than the time before. There would have been some level of collusion, either on par with or below Assad's control. What President Trump did was send a powerful punch in the gut to let Assad know he either needs to change his ways or get control of those who can't. Remember, we have boots on the ground from before the election. This is to help ensure they are not faced with chemical weapons. They're there. They want to live. President Trump wants them to live. We all want them to live. Do you understand why he would want it laid down in no uncertain terms? We will not tolerate unconventional warfare of any kind. I proudly stand by that strong admonishment. Another benefit? Now that level of force can be applied to ISIS with previous precedents. If you're looking to make comparisons to the Iraq War, compare this. 2017 Syrian attack, 59 cruise missiles in a surgical strike. Day one of the Islamic State campaign in Syria 2014, 47 cruise missiles. I don't think anybody called it bomb extreme. 2004 Iraq, 500 cruise missiles and a shock and awe airstrike campaign. It's nothing like either one of them. Obama hit dirt, Bush bullied an already weakened nation, Donald Trump took a stand for our men and women in uniform. And I stand with him. Now, to extrapolate further, let's put all the elements of that moment together and critically think our way through this. In this assault on a military target, here is the political capital he gained. The world knows America will not hesitate to use force judiciously and with conviction. China knows we have a president who can play their close-to-the-vest game in the League of Champions. Xi Jinping had to find out from President Trump about this attack over dinner, no less. Mr. Trump sat through most of that dinner with a strong hand and a stone poker face. Xi Jinping will be doing some deep thinking on the long ride home. It showed the world President Trump has compassion and watered down the arrogance of the other nations, looking weak in the face of this avenger. He shrugged off a ton of Putin's bitch barnacles laid by the press. Nikki Haley has shed her establishment skin and threw our might in the face of Russia and the world. Mr. Trump has already told the United Nations we're cutting payments. This puts a punctuation on that message to the globalists. Of course the mudslinging media was going to find something to gripe about. They will, no matter what he does. I'm pretty sure he's not seeking their adoration, so we can eliminate that straw man too. One of the reasons you two are my favorites is when either of you discuss an issue, you come to the news desk or standing space armed with facts and knowledge, and present through the process of critical thought. Your commentary on this was pure knee-jerk. Also, Stefan, yelling at your audience does not make your point stronger or more profound. Philosophers that I read about spoke using their voice to effectively convey ideas without strong shows of emotion because it detracts from the idea itself. You can't do a checkers video on a 3D chess game. What you have built in the way of a movement will cannibalize itself unless you can present a wider version of what may be happening and why. Your collective condemnation in this case sounds like mainstream media pushing a narrative with limited facts. To Rand Paul and his father who want to ignite the anti-NWO forces on social media, let me say this. Senator Paul, you know you're being disingenuous when you say President Trump acted outside his authority. In any place we have boots on the ground, the president is authorized to call for strikes, period. I want to change provisions of the Defense Authorization Act as well, but not that one. If you're calling out President Trump, you're also calling out Reagan and the bombing of Gaddafi, which brought about his change of heart. Benghazi, I believe, would have been different under President Trump, but by your logic, it would have gone down exactly the same. When has Congress ever voted to do anything in a timely fashion? Leaks would have been coming out from everywhere, and the news would be broadcasting our plans to whomever will listen. You got your official letter within 48 hours. So President Trump's obligation for a limited strike has been met and fulfilled. Have any opinion you want, Rand. Just avoid being disingenuous, please. Your soundbite, which you crafted to begin each interview, was pure clickbait. Back to Paul Joseph Watson and Stefan Molyneux. As you make us not knowing things into an amorphous concept instead of a simple fact, let me ask you, what do you know about the possibility of a deep state in Russia? What faction is what faction's friend in Syria? How many factions are there total? Is there any emergent leaders among the opposition? What is the significance to the Levant? Does it have apocalyptic applications? If we don't start putting the players in the Middle East together, how will we ever stop the flow of refugees? Yeah, there's a lot going on you don't know about. And yes, our government has a better handle on those things. Yeah, I hate that too, but it is what it is, and what it is, it always was. Thank you for sharing your time and partaking of this video, and please comment how your conscience allows.